Hi, everybody. Today is Friday, December 10th. Listen, a couple things really quickly. I want to address two different groups of people today in this video, okay? The first group of people I want to talk to are those of you who have been sick or out of town for the last week, for this entire week. So you are the people who have not started this plate motion engineering internship, and you have not been able to log on to the computer simulation. If you have not done that, what we did today in class is not really going to make a whole lot of sense to you. And so what I would just recommend that you do is make sure that you have your dossier caught up. So what I mean by that is if you don't have this dossier, by the way, it is in the folder for Monday, December 6th, and you should put that in Good Notes. So we've got this dossier, and here's our table of contents. So far, we have read and annotate chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you've been gone all week long, all I want to do is make sure that you have chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4 read and annotated, and that's it for you today. You can go ahead and log off on science, and hopefully I'll see you on Monday. Now, the rest of you have been in class, and you know what I'm talking about when I talk about the tsunami alert system. And so what I'm going to talk about today is going to make a little bit more sense for you. All right, very quickly, I'm just going to review what we talked about and then give you your assignment. Okay, so we're talked today about the design cycle. It's what Amplify calls the design cycle. Basically, what this is, anytime we have a problem, whether it's in science or in real life, we tend to follow the same set of steps for problem solving. And in science, we used to call this the scientific method. But this is kind of what we do now. You plan what you're going to do, then you do what you need, gather the materials, do what you need to do it. That's the test. Then you analyze what you've done, and then anything that kind of looks off or you want to try something different, you plan what you're going to do, and then you test or you build, test, and analyze, and it just repeats over and over and over again. What we're going to do today is we're going to follow this design cycle. I'm not going to show you the video, but we're going to do what's called iterative testing. Iterative testing is just repeating a process in a way that considers the results of a previous design. So let's say you create, let's say you use 3 sensors, maybe 4 sensors. You use a couple earthquake sensors. You use you use one shallow sensor and one deep sensor. So you place those where you think you want them. You go ahead and hit test, and then you get all this data back. For iterative testing, you would analyze that data, and you would say, okay, this is the information that I got. You'd think about your 3 criteria. How does that stack up? Let's say everything looks great, but you had 7 false alarms. Well, that's not good. You don't want that. So then what you would do is you would instantly, automatically, you would go, well, that's not right. And you would go in there, mess around, and change some things. What I'm asking you guys to do today is not just go in, mess around with it, test it, go in, mess around, test it. I want you to really think about what results you got and plan what you're going to do. So it's asking you to slow down your thought process just a minute so that we can really make sure that you're changing what you need to change. Okay? So let me explain what I mean. You're going to be using these tsunami alert data sheets as you go through the design cycle. If you look on Schoology, I have a PDF. It's called Tsunami Alert Data. Go ahead and put 5 of them in Good Notes, okay? And each one of these, we're going to watch a video here, but each one of these sheets it has all the information you need for 2 different tests. So plan number 1, plan number 2. Let's go ahead and watch the demonstration video so you know what I'm talking about.
Let's review how to record your tsunami alert designs and test results on the tsunami alert data sheets. On each sheet, there's space to record 2 versions. Remember to write the version number for each iteration so you can keep track of them all. Under Plan, you'll write about the design idea you'll build and test. Here, you'll explain the strategy that you'll use to address the criteria. Under Build, you'll record the number of each sensor type you used. You'll also list the coordinates where you placed the sensors.
I'm going to pause it here. I want you to notice we're going to put a little asterisk right here after where you placed it. That way you know whether or not you had it on land or in water. So without going back and trying to recreate and look at this graphic, I can just look at this and go, okay, well, these three were on land, these three were in water. So don't forget to do that.
Mark the earthquake mode too. Unless your internship coordinator tells you otherwise, keep the earthquake mode set to random. That's because it's impossible to predict exactly where earthquakes will strike. Now, you're ready to test your design. Press Test. The test results will show how well your warning system functioned over a simulated period of 50 years. You'll see some randomness in where the earthquakes occur, which will affect your results. Under Test, you'll record the average warning time, whether all necessary warnings were received, the number of false alarms, and the total 50-year cost. Under Analyze, explain what your test results mean. Think about ways your design was successful and ways it could be improved.
We talked a lot in class about the Analyze section. It's going to be really difficult for you guys to come in right away and do a really great job of analyzing. It's just a kind of a skill that takes a lot of practice. If you look on the worksheet, I gave you 2 question prompts for the Analyze. It's basically, how is your design successful? So maybe what criteria did it do a great job meeting? And then what ways could it be improved? So maybe there's another criterion that it was okay, but not great. Or like the one in this test, it said were all necessary warnings received? And the answer was no. Well, that's a problem. That's a really big problem. So you would want to think about changing your design to meet those needs, okay? Again, this Analyze section, don't stress over it. Just try to answer those 2 prompts, okay?
You can record additional details if you decided to use the Study Earthquake feature, or if you ran multiple tests for the same version. Now, you're ready to make a plan for your next design. For example, you can write about what you'll change in the next version. Press the Edit button to start making your next version.
All right. I don't know why. Nope. There we go. All right. So here's an example for that analyzing again. So what did you do well and what do you need to work on? So this person said, I almost always got a yes with this design, but 3 warnings were less than 15 minutes. So 3 average warning times were less than 15 minutes. That's not very long. So then this person decided that's the one thing they wanted to focus on. Now, I stopped here and I talked to the kids about the importance of only changing one thing at a time in your design. We only want to change one thing because imagine this. Let's say I have 3 sensors that I placed, and after test 1, I decided I wanted to change the location of all 3, and so I do a second test. If I got different results, which I'm going to get different results, I won't know why I got the different results. I won't know which sensor was the reason, the movement was the reason for that change. And so it's important that we only change one aspect at a time, only change one sensor at a time. So this person said that they really wanted to focus on the average warning time. That was the one criterion that wasn't very good in the test. And so made a plan to improve it by moving the sensors so they can detect ocean-wide tsunamis sooner. And then this person added something, and that was their hypothesis. I'm not going to ask you to add one unless you can really think, if it comes clearly to you and you're like, oh, I know exactly what I'm hoping to find, great, put it in there. But this is, again, a skill that takes a little bit of time, so don't stress about it. Just go ahead and answer those 2 prompts. What did it do well, and what do I need to improve upon? Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and have you launch your tsunami alert. Don't do it now because I don't know if you can hear me and follow along. But basically, you're going to launch the tsunami alert to build your test design. And I want you, for today's lesson, I want you to build 3 to 4 versions of your design. I don't think we had enough time in a couple classes to do 4 versions, so the kids only had 3. If you've got time, go ahead and do 4. The more versions you have to choose from, the better it's going to be for you at the very end. So make sure, record all your results, even if they're really bad, even the weak results. Don't throw that out. Again, in science, we're not about right or wrong, we're about information. And so even bad results can give you some information to learn from. So now, yes, go ahead and build those versions. And then here's what we ended our class with. We just kind of had a talk about what strategies people used that gave other people some ideas. So we had a good talk about that. And then talked about whether people found that their design was strong for one criterion but not the others, and how they knew it was strong for that, not the others. And so, we just kind of had some conversation. But here's what I'd like you to do. Now that you've got 4 done, I want you to figure out the best result for each criterion, and you are going to highlight that, okay? So let's take a look at this example. So this person did 6 versions, and they decided version 6 and version 3 were their 2 best results. And so then they circled the best results for each of those 3 criterion. So version 3, the 2 false alarms, that was the lowest that they got, and the total 50-year cost was the lowest that they did out of those 6 tests. And then in version 6, the average warning time of 56.5 minutes was the highest warning time. And on this one, they also got 2 false alarms. So we're comparing these 2, and eventually this person's going to have to choose which one is the one that they want to turn in for feedback from Hannah. And it just comes down to this. You're going to have to decide, it's called a trade-off. What criterion, I'm going to be honest with you, there's no such thing as a perfect design right now. And so you're going to be really hard pressed to find that you have all 3 criterion just really amazing. And so what 2 criterion maybe are you super, super committed to, and what's one that you're going to have to let go? And I'm not going to tell you on this one, it doesn't, like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. So either one of these would be great for a person to turn in. It's just that version 3, they would say, you know what, the cost and the number of false alarms are 2 criterion that are a little bit more important to me. And maybe if they turned in version number 6, they would say the average warning time and the false alarms were more important. And the cost, that was something that they're going to have a trade-off on. Okay? So once you have that, you're going to choose your very strongest design to submit for feedback from Hannah, the project manager. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. Go back to the Futura workspace. You're going to look on up here in your box. You've got a tsunami alert design. This is in your inbox. So you'll click on that, and it's asking you to submit your best design in order to receive feedback from Hannah. So this one, Amplify said to do it for partners. We did it in partners in class. And make sure that you don't include symbols, like you don't have to do a $sign, you don't have to do commas at all. So make sure you don't include those. You're just including all the data, everything from your worksheet. You just plug in the numbers, everything that you had, okay? And then you're going to go ahead and hit submit. On Monday, you'll get some feedback from Hannah in your inbox. Okay, that's it. Let me know if you've got any questions. Go back and kind of just skim through this video if you need to listen to anything again. Otherwise, send me an email and I'm happy to answer questions, okay? I'll talk to you guys later.